and welcome to the Afterspark podcast, an episode-by-episode recap of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. I'm Els.
And I'm Specs.
And today we are going to be talking about episode number 78, Madman's Paradise. Let's talk about giant robots today, shall we?
Yep.
So, we open with diplomacy.
As we are introduced to an alien ambassador, who is in turn introduced to Spike and his family, including a wild Carly. This is the first time we've seen her in a while.
Yeah, no kidding. It's nice to see her. We also find out that Spike is literally Earth's ambassador to Cybertron at this point.
So I wonder if they've got a world government, or if they're just, like, paraphrasing and he's the US ambassador.
I think one of the things you had said when we were watching it, you're like, oh, they sent him there to keep him out of trouble, which is also very funny.
That's true. Daniel takes offense at the alien ambassador basically calling him cute.
Only for Rodimus to tell Daniel to behave. Rodimus is going to give us advice on how to behave now.
I really don't know how to feel about that.
The last time we saw this man doing anything diplomatic was badly hosting the Olympics.
Oh, and that was not a good time for anyone.
I imagine that was an intergalactic incident, quite frankly.
Yes, but Daniel excuses himself.
And I feel the need to explain that Daniel and Spike are in terrible tuxedos at this point. Spike tells him not to get the tux dirty. It's a rental, obviously.
So they're all wearing white. I feel the need to mention this because any dirt is going to stand out so badly. Daniel stomps off, complaining about not having anyone to play with, passing by a wild Grimlock in Dino mode, who is wearing a waiter getup, complete with an apron and bow tie.
I cannot tell you how much I want this for my Grimlock. Sadly, while literally the, bow tie and apron exist for the official MP scale Grimlock, I have a bigger third-party boy, and I don't have a cute bow tie and an apron for him.
So sad. Grimlock begins following Daniel, telling him, "Me Grimlock play."
Daniel inadvertently hits a secret panel while grumpily kicking around a cog on the ground, which then reveals the secret passage.
God, Cybertron must be riddled with these things.
You would think!
Grimlock then accidentally knocks Daniel into the tunnel and tumbles in after him,
sadly losing the adorable apron.
Daniel manages to catch a ledge, yelling at Grimlock to do the same, because the thing they go on basically shoots them out over a ravine, and if he hadn't caught that ledge, he would be so fucking dead. But yeah, you can fly, Grimlock.
I'm telling you, it only makes sense if the Dinobots don't remember they can fly 90% of the time.
The two of them scramble up the ledge, entering a room full of glyphs that suspiciously resemble Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Daniel points out an image of a monster.
And by monster, we mean dragon. And Grimlock says, "Not monster, handsome like me, Grimlock."
While turning quickly to show off his assets, Grimlock accidentally hits the wall, activating some kind of portal.
Which they are conveniently, standing on?
I feel like there's a lot of accidentally hitting things in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, really there is. And so said portal spits Daniel and Grimlock out into a creepy-looking forest.
Daniel wonders aloud where the heck they are, since it's definitely not Cybertron.
Grimlock suggests California. And it's really funny that this is his image of California.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like my image of California is sun-drenched beaches, and apparently for Grimlock it is dark, dingy wood bog.
A strange winged critter spots the two of them and flies off towards a castle tower in the distance.
Inside, a red-robed man with an obscured face looks into a magical mirror, spying Grimlock and Daniel.
He seems pretty happy to see these new people, and this is kind of ominous.
Some trees turn into weird gestalt creatures with a humanoid torso and head on the upper half, and basically saber wolves on the bottom half, also complete with a separate head, and confront Daniel and Grimlock. Also, just so you guys know, these things are so weird looking, we struggled to figure out how to describe them for a solid 5 minutes of back and forth, only to find out the wiki just calls them tree centaurs, so that's what we're gonna call them now.
Yep, there's a lot to unpack here, but I think we're just gonna have to toss that entire suitcase into the void, or maybe into the damn portal Daniel and Grimlock went through.
My recommendation is just to roll with it, otherwise you will go insane from all the stupidity here.
Yeah.
Well, silliness here maybe is better. A better way to put that, sorry.
Yeah. So one of the tree centaurs attacks Grimlock with a boomerang that makes a funky noise, and Grimlock catches the thing and eats it.
Look, I'm just saying, Grimlock's level of problem solving is, does it fit in mouth? Yes, no longer problem.
Or does it burn?
Yes, but I don't know how well I think Grimlock understands fire despite having lasers.
I mean, he's got the fire breath too.
I guess that's true. That's true.
So yeah, the rest of the tree centaurs attack Grimlock before we cut back to some delicate diplomatic stuff happening on Cybertron.
And to Carly, who's wondering where in the world her son has gone off to. Where in the world indeed, Carly?
He's having an out-of-this-world experience. The alien ambassador lady refers to Daniel as their spawn, says some maybe interesting things about that culture, and then says she saw him go off with that Dinobot.
This causes some minor panic, but Rodimus tells the group to calm down. Stay calm until we know what's going on. Then we'll panic.
I mean, I guess that's straightforward. Carly, Ultra Magnus, Blaster, and his cassettes head off to find Daniel, leaving Spike where he is presumably needed.
Our cassettes for this evening are Steeljaw, Ramhorn, and Eject. Rewind will eventually make himself known from Blaster's chest compartment as well. This was extremely confusing because when we were watching this, I'm sitting there going, I'm like, okay, is that actually Eject or is that supposed to be Rewind? And he's like getting in and out of Blaster. Eject has no lines, but it does seem to be Eject.
Yes, because Rewind and Eject have different color schemes, and the one outside is blue, which is, as far as I can tell, Eject's color.
And Rewind does pop up, like, himself later, so we have a point of comparison.
Yep. Steeljaw catches the scent, and off they go.
Back with our bestest Dino Boy, Grimlock is overrun by the tree centaurs and captured along with Daniel.
While watching in his tower, the Red Wizard casts some sort of spell that turns the tree centaurs back into trees.
And evidently transports him to the two's location for good measure, where he welcomes them to Minonia.
But not before transforming his suspicious-looking tentacle into a humanoid hand.
Daniel is hesitant to go with the Red Wizard when he invites them back to his castle because he is a stranger, and Daniel is the child of children from the 80s. But Grimlock reaches the logical conclusion that everyone here is a stranger, and if they don't go with the stranger, then they aren't going anywhere.
Fair, though isn't the thing that they tell you when you get lost is to stop moving?
To be fair, they were being attacked by tree centaurs in the location they were.
That is true.
So staying doesn't seem like the greatest option either.
But still, they're going to a secondary location with a random dude, and that's not a great plan. But that's not like staying would have helped anyway.
So they arrive at the castle, and the man in red, who has not told the two that he is the Red Wizard for reasons, but we're just gonna be upfront here, he is the Red Wizard, gives them the lowdown on the Red Wizard.
He's really tooting his own horn here, you gotta say. So, according to our storyteller here, the Red Wizard showed up by falling out of the sky, much like Daniel and Grimlock, through a mysterious red portal.
He was also a favored student to the previous ruler of Minonia, the Golden One.
When the Golden One disappeared, he benevolently took charge and brought prosperity to the land.
And honestly, this is a kind of fun bit of storytelling in G1. This man is lying through his teeth, as you may have noticed for some of our sarcasm here. But Daniel and Grimlock don't know this, but we, the audience, are shown what is actually happening here, and it's not nearly as, rosy.
Yes. So what actually happened was that he was being a little shit to the Golden One, and fucking up the Golden One's experiments before trapping the Golden One in a cave.
And rising to power through violence, slavery, and implied torture.
Yep. He asks Grimlock for his help, as some people are super jealous of the Red Wizard and his many esteemed accomplishments that are definitely not torture.
Grimlock is all too happy to help.
So Daniel has fallen asleep at the table, and the Red Wizard has him carried off to rest. And what's carrying him off are some suspiciously familiar-looking wooden robots. They look like sort of the robots that we see in one of the previous episodes where characters get tossed back into the past. So this is kind of maybe a hint at what's going on.
Daniel is deposited not in a nice comfy room with a comfortable bed, but in a jail cell while the wizard is telling Grimlock who he, Grimlock's, new enemies are.
And rebukes Grimlock's very earnest question as to why the wizard isn't handling this himself.
On Cybertron, Steeljaw and Ramhorn find a remnant of Grimlock's apron.
Rewind informs the group that of all the information he has on this strange corridor, which is effectively that it's old as balls and has no recorded use in his records.
Ultra Magnus tells Blaster to have Percy meet them below, basically wherever the corridor lets out.
And in the hieroglyph room, Rewind pops out and begins to decipher the glyphs.
This room was apparently used to dispose of quintessent criminals. How, you may ask? Well, by throwing them into other dimensions, of course.
This will never come up again. We will never see this weird dimension thing ever again. Why?
Because it's Transformers, and we don't reuse concepts here. We don't believe in recycling in Transformers.
Considering they make people out of other things, they preeminently use recycling in their...
The writers don't believe in recycling.
Well, hopefully someone in the future uses this damn concept in a Transformers thing.
Rewind further explains that Daniel and Grimlock were probably dumped into Mononia. How he knows this, we don't really get a good explanation. But apparently, that is where the criminal Mara al-Atha was sent for practicing sorcery. That's right, quintessent sorcery is a perfectly normal thing on this fucking planet.
Well, it's a criminalized thing.
Yeah,
but
it is common enough that we know he was sent there for practicing sorcery.
And Rewind is having a field day with all of this, and it's not often that he actually gets to do his job as a historian. Though I have to say, they could have used this in one of the comics as the reason for a crossover.
Oh yeah, that could have been fun. Regardless, off Carly, Ultra Magnus Blaster, and his cassettes go to Mononia.
Yay! Field trip time. Daniel wakes up in his jail cell and he sees a man in tattered red robes chained to a wall.
The man in the cell reveals himself to be a carbon copy of the Red Wizard above, saying that the Red Wizard was always amused to take his shape.
He also informs Daniel that the Red Wizard is evil and that they were both pupils of the Golden One.
Surprised Pikachu face.
The fact that we never get an actual name for the Golden One is kind of annoying, because we've got the Red Wizard, no name. The Golden One, no name.
Well, we don't get a name for the guy in the red robes either.
Yeah, that's...
Like, nobody gets names here.
Yeah.
Daniel's able to cut the man's restraints and ask him for help in finding the Golden One.
The two, plus several other prisoners, are able to escape their cells when the jail is hit by a stray spell from the opposing wizard.
Well, one of the opposing wizards. There's like a bunch of them. There's an army attacking the castle right now, which involves wizards as well.
Yeah. Because there was a reason the Red Wizard wanted Grimlock for fighty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The old man leads Daniel to the cave where the Golden One is trapped.
The other Autobots arrive, Carly spotting Grimlock on top of the castle, and the others basically go to help him.
Steeljaw and Ramhorn take off after catching Daniel's scent, followed by Carly.
They arrive at the cave with Daniel, who gives Carly kind of a rundown on the situation.
She's very glad to see her son, but there is no heartfelt hugging. It's kind of disappointing.
I thought they did hug.
Well, it's not like they hold each other, but it's not like...
It's 1980s hugging. Or 1980s cartoon hugging. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, that would be kind of annoying to animate.
Yes.
So Ramhorn, being what he is, opts to ram the boulder blocking the cave to release the Golden One after they get the situation run down.
The Golden One turns into... Like, he walks out and he's just a golden guy with a weird chalice on his head.
Yes.
Yes. Like, literally, he is a very yellow.
He's entirely golden, like he was dipped in the Electrum from way back in that episode.
Yes. We have an Electrum man, if you will. But, then he turns into a fucking dragon. And, yes, at some point, I think the red-robed guy calls him, like, Dragon of the Sun or some shit. I don't know about you, but my first instinct was not to take that literally. And it just feels like he comes out of nowhere with this mostly normal-looking guy in a stupid hat turns into a giant golden dragon.
Though I feel like it was his image, the dragon, that was on the fucking thing that Grimlock.
Yeah, it probably was, but, like, you don't know that going into it.
Yeah, and also, just how long have these people been alive in here? How does time work in this space?
Because, yeah, like, we just know a very large amount of time has passed, and let's go with that, so I don't fucking know.
Well, we know a quintessence was thrown in there. Rewind already told us that. And if the golden one's been stuck in a cave for however long, where is this quintessence running around?
Yes, where indeed?
So the golden one flies off towards the castle, arriving and zapping the red wizard with eye lasers, revealing the quintessent criminal.
So about how much time has passed, the quintessent criminal couldn't have been thrown in there prior to, like, he would have had to have been thrown in there a long time before the Autobot-Decepticon War, which has been going on for millions of years. So how does time even work here? Does time just not function as normally? Or otherwise the golden one has been shoved into a cave for literally millions of years.
Yep, has it been like at least 9 or 11 million years since this has happened? Or did the guy literally spend like millions of years fucking around and then only shove the golden one in the cave 3 months ago?
Okay, that would be really funny. Anyway, our quintessent criminal revealed, then zaps Ultramagnus, Grimlock Blaster, and the golden one.
The golden one is too weak to have his voice heard because apparently he needs sunlight or something, and being stuck in the cave really fucked him up.
He's solar powered. He's like Superman.
Yes. So Blaster turns into a boombox, and Ultramagnus hands the mic to the golden one to begin reciting counterspells. So we're having the world's most interesting karaoke time?
No. Imagine, if you will, the worst kind of slam poetry.
A very one-sided rap battle. Though he'd probably have fun with karaoke if Blaster came to visit.
I kind of want that image. I want that animated now. Anyway, this ends with the quintessent being a pile of ash now.
Why he didn't just do it in the first place before he got stuck in the cave is anyone's guess. It's not like he had access to Blaster being super...
Yes.
The super karaoke machine is pretty obvious.
Naturally, the portal home conveniently appears, and the golden one is nice enough to float the Autobots and humans up into it and back to Cybertron. We're not told, but I think Percy opened it on his end because he's just that fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And especially because we see him poke his scope in through the portal.
And, say something to the rest of them. So yeah, very cute. We love us a Percy, even though he was only here for 2 seconds in this episode.
Yeah. And the episode ends with Grimlock going to bat for Daniel, because it's not Daniel's fault he got dirty today.
Very, very adorable. 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
We love us a Grimmy boy. So that's the end of the episode. Join us next time for that very special time of the year.
Oh, the horror, the holiday episode.
Where we, once again, are subjected to the stylings of Michael Bay as we do Transformers Age of Extinction for our anniversary.
Come join us in our agony. We beseech you.
But before that agony, Specs has some fanfic cracks.
Yep.
First, some happier things.
Some cute Dinobot things, generally.
We're okay with this.
So, the first is 2015 Tiny Treats Dinobot Edition by Irian Sato, or Irian_Sato. It's G1 Cartoon Continuity, rated G, Gen. There's no pairings, and our characters here are Paddles, Swoop, Daniel, Witwicky, First Aid, Snarl, Cup, and Grimlock. And in summary, it's a set of Dinobot mini microfics. So they're small little bite-sized pieces, and they were all pretty cute. And our characters, it's Daniel and the Dinobots. We don't get to see any other Dinobots in here in this episode, but it's nice to see Paddles getting some screen time in the fanfic, and just all the other Dinobots. But yeah, it's a bunch of little teeny mini-fics. The second one is More Than the Eye Can See by Nikor_Fireworm. It's G1 Continuity, rated G, it's Gen. No pairings, and our characters are Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, Chip Chase, Sludge, Fireflight, Grimlock, and Hot Rod, and is a collection of unrelated drabbles featuring the Autobots. Could stand as canon, it's light in nature, and mostly about word games and innocent kids. Which, considering Daniel in this episode, yeah. And I picked it because one of the drabbles is based on magic, but that's the Fireflight one, not the Grimlock one. The Grimlock one is about Hot Rod, I think, trying to get Grimlock to use proper grammar.
Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
He Grimlock, perfect already. Why would you need to change him?
Yep. But yeah, it's mini-fix. I thought they were both cute, and it's not like I was going to be able to find anything else with magic, even though the series actually has canonical magic in it.
I know. I'm like, how do we have two? We have 2 episodes with magic and dragons. What the hell?
I still have to wonder if they just reused the dragon model sheet from that earlier episode with this one. They may have
colored it gold and called it good, and I can't really blame them if they did.
I mean, heck, it's not even, like, 2 episodes. There's at least one more, because that episode with the fucking big game hunter also had a dragon.
Oh god, I forgot about that. Yes, dragons are a perfectly normal thing in this universe.
And that's not even going into the funky space dragon that hatched out of the meteorite or whatever.
You just keep saying more dragon.
And
You're not wrong, but you just keep saying more dragon.
And I'm pretty sure that, like, the stupid things that half the time they get attacked by on the alien planets that they get dropped on might count as dragons too.
Well, you see, the origins of dragons in this universe is exactly the same as it is in Final Fantasy XIV. They're aliens from a different planet. I'm not kidding.
Well, I mean, it's not the weirdest thing. They've also got the metal-eating plants in this stupid thing.
Things.
And the Electrum, which never comes back.
Many things never come back. You see, none of them have long-term memory. All of their long-term memory is just completely borked because they were asleep for 4 million years.
Yeah. And that just about wraps it up for us today. Remember to check us out on Tumblr or Pillow Fort as Afterspark-podcast for any additional information, show notes, or links we may have mentioned. You can also find us on Twitter and AftersparkPod, all one word, and various other locations by searching for Afterspark podcasts such as AO3, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, just to name a few. And feel free to send us questions on Tumblr, YouTube, or AO3. Till next time, I'm Specs.
And I'm Alice.
Toodles! Hope your lives involve less dragons.
I want this to be a family instead of a bunch of masculine nitwits punching the crap out of each other.